Hello there, this is Critical from Critical Media, just taking a look at the 2023 release of Spy vs. Spy, the Omnibus, predominantly done by Antonio Prohias, although there are some other artists like David Manak or much later Peter Kuper. And what we usually do at this channel is give you an idea of what to expect if you ever come across these books in the wild. So we go over the exterior, some bonus material, art and plot points, and then a brief review at the end. There's only really one plot here, though, folks. It's really just the man in black versus the man in white trying to kill each other in every issue, basically. But anywho, that's kind of the par for course here. It is a humor comic from the 60s, and admittedly, I'm not really big in owning a lot of humor comics, but there are some that I like to go back to, like Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. This is the only other one I'd say I have now. But an intriguing aspect about this release is that this is the first time it's been reprinted in over 10 years. So definitely worth taking a gander at least. Another aspect is that this book is actually a DC release, but you would never know it. Like this release of the book, you'll notice it when we go through it. The production level is very akin to like a Fantagraphics, but also the size of the book is pretty big. So just to give you an idea, this is like a deluxe edition, which is very similar to like a typical DC or Marvel omnibus. And you'll see what I mean. It's pretty damn big. So yeah, even the format. I had to find, there's only one other book in my library that has similar dimensions. It's this Captain Marvel, trivia or history book. Very much in line with this release. But another aspect is the book being about 360 pages, it's a comprehensive omnibus, meaning you're getting everything from the 60s all the way to the 90s, basically. Basically when Peter Kuper took over. But yeah, at least in terms of the exterior here, yeah, as mentioned, it is a unique format, but I like the red, white, and black aesthetic. I think I say this a lot. Pretty much a winner almost every time. Prominent spine here design. I think they did change it a little bit from the earlier omnibus release. And just a nice, very pop arts design here on the exterior. Pretty decent in that regard. I even like the way they priced the book, eh? Cheap, and then for Canadians, cheap, eh? Admittedly, Canadians, we say A, but we don't say A as crazily as you think. Anywho, underneath the dust jacket, though, it is a black finish, but it's a unique kind of design. It has this almost like micro felt design almost, but it's very clean, and it has, you can kind of see through the light, it has this embossing of course the white spy here, and then an embossing of the black spy on the back, so I appreciate that. And again, it's a raised embossing of the title. I'm surprised that more releases don't have that more, the pop out, the embossing rather than the concave. But anywho, in terms of bonus material though, this book is quite dense. As I kind of hinted, this book is very much in line or akin to like a Fantagraphics release, where it's a very well curated book. So you're actually getting bonus material as you're reading throughout the book. But I guess I do kind of count this part because this is kind of like the end of the at least traditional 90s releases. And it kind of just gives you, yes, some interviews, awesome interviews, so well in depth. You can tell almost every person who wrote an interview for it. They had a legitimate respect for Prohias. This page here, like Mad Magazine, they did do this quite a lot. I mentioned Mad Magazine because Mad TV, because admittedly Mad TV was my first ever way of consuming these characters. I used to love those little mini cartoons. But you'll see what I mean, where they have a lot of interactive art in it. Yeah, or you hold the page up to the light and it reveals a little bit more to it. So I appreciate that kind of jazz. Yeah, and you're getting more of his, different works beyond just Spy versus Spy included here. Like I said, this is something that Fantagraphics would usually do. So I'm appreciative that DC kind of went in line with this kind of release. And yeah, you're kind of getting the transition to the Peter Kuper days when it got a little bit more bloody because it was in color. But admittedly, it was a little bit more graphic when Peter Kuper started doing it. But yeah, you're kind of seeing the pop culture effect, even down to the video game or Game Boy game. Yeah, I remember that puppy too. But yeah, pretty intriguing stuff nonetheless. But yeah, you can tell it's been an excellent piece of history here because Prohias, the whole reason why he even kind of was inspired by it, you could say, is he's Cuban. He was in Cuba during the whole Castro takeover and all that. And instead, what does he do? Because Castro even accused him of being a spy, moves to America and actually ironically makes a spy comedy or parody here. So I love that angle to it. And I do love this bookend angle, or this bookend aspect of the book, where, yeah, you have so much going on. It's almost like a cacophony of craziness, a myriad of misery. But yeah, it's very pop artish. And yeah, just a clone of it there on the back. But I love how it's the artist's table, you know, and them just messing around all over it. But anywho, it does have a pretty lengthy introduction. The introduction itself is very much almost bonus material in its own right as well. So yeah, you're just seeing the man there, Prohias himself. Oh, sorry if my lovely fingers can actually get to the pages. There you go. Yeah, and you can see like a lot of creativity out of that big brain there, I tell you. I like how he pokes fun at himself, as you just saw there. His schnoz, so to speak. That kind of became the inspiration for the characters' schnozzes, so to speak, there too. But yeah, just the beginnings of the characters there. But yeah, it pretty much starts off with one of the most iconic pages in the entire series. This is actually on the dust jacket itself. So in that light, yeah, just the very beginning, just to get you accustomed to the kind of storytelling. Just these two that you'd think that they're all buddy-buddy, but no, they're always trying to kill each other. End up killing these two cats, I guess. And I appreciate the whole Morse code thing. Because the Morse code is always just basically saying the same thing at the beginning, at the top of each issue, basically. But I appreciate that. How there's basically 2 comics, or should I say technically 4 comics in each issue. Because I find that the title itself is a comic in its own right, than the actual comic of each series. Very appreciative that they did it this way. Honestly, I wasn't really knowledgeable too much about the female spy before. So yeah, seeing spy versus spy versus spy, the gray spy. You know, they're usually referred to as the man in black, the man in white, and then the woman in gray. But yeah, it's always appreciative that anytime it was spy versus spy versus spy, she always won. Just an intriguing aspect. Another aspect of this book that I really only appreciated until after reading one of these excerpts here is that apparently Mad Magazine, they actually used to keep track of which spy won in each issue or each comic, as to keep it fair. That the black spy would win X amount of times, the white spy would win the same amount of times. There'll be times where you see an issue where, like for instance, the white spy wins twice, and you're like, damn it. And then the next issue, the black spy wins twice. But yeah, very appreciative in that light. And they kind of, as you can see here, each issue has the date of the release on it. And that's excellent because you can keep track with each release's decade and also get a viewpoint into like the zeitgeist of each release, right? So as mentioned, they have these interviews that kind of split up each decade. Now we're into the 1970s art here, you know. Probably one of my favorite ones is this one here. It's so hard to describe them, but hands down, like these 2 pages are excellent, but I love this one forever. I think that Matt TV may have done this one in an animated form, but man, I just can't get over the fact that you could read these and consume them just like this, and yet they're that effective, you know. But oh yes, my hands down favorite one is this one. I'll just say this one, where yeah, the black spy, he figures out some sort of chemical concoction that creates an incendiary, creates an explosive. What does white spy do? It's crazy. He puts like the fly swatter and a fly in the mixture. Somehow convinces the bug to fly in and have the black spy kill himself. It's so clever. Like it takes a real interesting mind to come up with these, right? But yeah, very intriguing nonetheless. And yeah, just bridging over from the 70s to the 80s. Yeah, it's even mentioning how apparent the Cold War was and how important it was to the kind of writings of this, or the choices that Prohias took. But yeah, just a very intriguing one. Oh yeah, this one gets reused quite a bit. As a matter of fact, I think there was like an ad for like White Castle that reused this one here. Very intriguing. And yeah, you can see that they had beef even in their old young chibi days, so to speak. But yeah, pretty damn awesome. It does get to a point though where, yeah, as you're reaching closer and closer to the 90s, you're starting to see, he's Prohias is more so taking off the foot off the gas himself, and he's allowing other artists to jump in like Bob Clarke or David Manak. But you'll see what I mean, where the art pretty much stays consistent because it's such a simple design. These 3/4, these just it's very basic concepts, but it's the fact that it's the work that's put in that keeps it just so intriguing every time. It allows that consistency to reign through by just sticking true to that whole 3/4 design aspect. But yeah, it's ultimately a strong release. As mentioned, they haven't really reprinted this that often, and I'm so impressed in the way DC approached this book. As mentioned, it reminds me so much of a Fantagraphics release. Like, so much care was done in the way this book was presented, where the bonus features are, the interesting little nuance to the histories that were going on throughout the decades. This is a must pick up, I must say. But anywho, it's no longer about me at this point. Hopefully you guys got your own at the end of the day, and I wouldn't mind seeing them in the comments down below, as always. Y'all folks take care, and enjoy the rest of your day.